Yo, what's good? Hope everyone's well. This is the Jayao podcast with myself, Jordan Adelekan.
I'm Camron Yao.
And yeah, it's pretty much we've set this up to help us give back game to the people. We just wanted to give back, to be honest, and we've used this platform now to be able to help others with things that they need. It could be mindset, business, life, relationships, everything essentially. So Cameron, introduce yourself and tell the people.
Simple. So I'm Camron Yao. So obviously I run Rose, and I'm trying to start up this new luxury thing, Camron Yao. So I met you obviously through sort of like just networking, innit? So I saw your brand I saw your brand on Snapchat coming around, so I thought I'd add the user. And yeah, we just got talking from there. How long have we known each other? What, 2 years, 3 years?
Couple years now.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I've had you on Snap for a while. I don't know. Recently, you've started linking up a bit more and sort
For
of
sure.
talking about the whole fashion space, because obviously we sort of share the same interests, and that's all. It was good that we can do this and give back free game.
Yeah,
I've met a lot of people that sort of hold it in it.
For sure.
When I ask them questions, they'd be reluctant to sort of tell me what go on. But it's like with me, if you ask me a question, I'm gonna tell you straight up. So obviously we're gonna give back in it.
Yeah,
Simple
for sure.
as that.
So essentially today, obviously me, myself, Jordan, as I said, founder, Inspired Dynasty. The tracksuits me and Cameron made them myself that we're wearing. Cameron's also said, he's also got another fashion brand coming. That's likewise myself. Jay Ramel, obviously I'm going to have still Inspired Dynasty, but the difference between the two being that Jay Ramel is a lot more exclusive and Inspired Dynasty is more accessible for people. I'm also an author. I released my first book in April this year, which I'd been writing for 2 years. And obviously now being 23, just turned 23 in October. So I started writing the book when I was about 20 and I'd put it out when I was 22. So that was a nice achievement there. And yeah, essentially just like the books, this whole space is just to give back to people. You know, we getting a lot of messages, a lot of DMs, a lot of people just asking like, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I just thought, let me have an accessible platform where millions of people can have access to, rather than me having to divide my attention, which might not allow me to be able to give back the way that I want to give back, because obviously different people, different days, different vibes, different moods, the feedback's going to be different. So I was like, you know what, I need to just have a fixed couple things where I can just essentially have a fixed set of values and people can benefit from that. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about mindset. So obviously, Cameron, I'm going to let you start, then we just flow from there.
All about mindset. I think no matter what you want to do in it, it always starts with your mind.
For sure.
You could say, I want to make this amount of money, or I want this amount of followers, or I want to be at this point with my brand. And then your body will follow, because you set your mind to something and you will do it. Simple as that. A lot of people come into the game where they think, oh, I can't do this because someone else has done that. That's wrong. Wrong from the start. You haven't even started a business, and it's probably going to fail, because it's like you're already putting yourself down. You always need to think you can do it. You either do it or you just don't do it. It's something you need to start with and learn to sort of fix your sort of mindset. Be like, I'm going to do this. That's it. Simple as. Nothing else. For me, it was a learning experience. I always used to compare myself to others. Always used to say, because he's done it, I can't do it. And I've only just sort of changed that in the last 2 years. And in the last 2 years, I've made the most progress out in every part of my life. Gym, my business, everything. Even education. So it's all about your mindset.
Yeah, like you said, I feel like mindset is very important. Ultimately, for me, I believe you need to already believe you're that person who you wish to become.
Simple.
If you want to be a professional footballer, you need to believe you're already a professional footballer. And then from that place, you're going to act like who you want to be, knowing that you're already this person. It also cuts out the excuses. So, if I believe I'm a professional footballer and have aspirations of becoming one, I'm not going to make excuses when it's time to go to the gym and time to train, because this is my job. This is who I am. I'm not trying to become this person, but rather this is already who I am. So I need to do it. And it cuts out the excuses. And yeah, like you said, believing is everything. If you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you?
Fact.
Your mindset is everything. The way you think essentially reveals the way you act as well. If you believe you're a bum, you're going to act like a bum.
It's as simple as that, bro.
If you believe you're not a bum and you believe that you're going to be someone in this life, that's who you become. If you believe you've already made it and it's already seeded and planted, that's how you carry yourself. And in essence, it's not even about whether it happens or not, but just the fact that you've applied yourself to allow it to become a thing. When people say things like the sky's the limit, I always tell them there is no limit.
Facts,
The
limit.
sky should be the floor. There's a higher level than the sky. And obviously one of the pieces that I designed, it had the live without limits message on the back.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that was powerful. And it was quite nice that people appreciate that as well, getting stopped in various different places and people asking to take pictures of the back of the shirt.
That's cold.
It just showed that words are powerful. And again, it just allowed me to, whenever I was wearing that, I could feel like I was living without limits. Whenever I was speaking to people, people saw me and they were saying that the message on the back was powerful, that hit a nerve in their system, and just through putting words on fabrics, they was able to be inspired. So again, yeah, that was powerful. How much of success do you think comes to a mindset?
I think probably 100% of it, if I'm being honest, because your mindset leads to actions. So let's say you suddenly change your mindset, you want to change for the better. You're going to start to change the people you're around. You're going to start to change what you listen to. You're going to start to change probably what you wear, where you go, the people you hang around with. So it affects every single action you take. So you're more likely to be successful as soon as you change your mindset. You might be hanging around people that don't want to do certain things. So when you change that mindset, you sort of go to people that also have the same mindset.
It's true.
That can elevate you, always put you forward. So let's say you put something out, be like, yo, bro, I don't like the way this looks. You could have done it a bit better. Say, I'm not going to go to the gym today. Nah, bro, we're going to the gym today. Simple as that. It's these little actions over days, weeks, hours, months that are going to get you to the place you need to go. So it all starts with your mind.
For sure, yeah. Like even when we were speaking yesterday, a lot of people's problem is they rely on the motivation, but motivation is it's not sustainable. Motivation is here, then it's gone. What people need to rely on is the discipline which comes with the mindset.
Simple.
Like this is going to be done regardless, and backing away from is this going to get done or is it not going to get done, to this is 100% getting done. That's the discipline factor. And then you've got the inspiration factor. If you want to be in the gym, if you set a goal of being this weight, looking this way, being cut a certain way, being bulk a certain way, you've got that inspiration of the vision to pull you, and that's it, in essence, a better way to carry yourself. With the motivation, you wake up one day, you feel it, you wake up the next day, you don't feel it, and you can never be great if that's the way you carry yourself, because greatness is constant, it's a constant flow. Greatness doesn't start today, stop tomorrow, stop the next week, continue the next month. Greatness is just a constant flow of ongoing. You're always in a state of greatness when you think like that.
It's a good you said that about motivation, because I don't really believe in motivation, if I'm being honest.
For sure.
I don't think I've been motivated for more than 7 days.
Yeah,
If I'm being honest, like my success has come down to me doing things after I've motivated. On the days that I don't want to do it. You might not want to work on your brand today. Let's say you finish work at 7:30, but you got to put a few hours in, and then you got to go to the gym that day. It's like you're never going to be motivated to do that.
That's fact. That's fact.
So it's all about the discipline. Discipline consistently is going to get you to where you need to go, and it's one of the things I wish I learned earlier. So imagine I knew this when I was 16, 15. Imagine the sort of places I could be where I am now.
That's what I'm saying.
But all that matters is you take the information on now and you elevate.
I think as well, even with that, like, better late than never. And
Simple.
even now, it's not even late. We're young. A lot of people watching this are going to be young as well. Young doesn't mean teenagers, middle-aged 20s. Young can be 40.
That's
in
the
essence,
thing, yeah.
life, you live, if you stay healthy and you look after yourself, you're expected to live to like 100 years. 50, you've lived half your life, which is still a very young age.
People would say that's old, though.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, how can that be old when, if I've still got 50 more years to live, if I've not even lived up to half my life, how can that still be old? And I think as well, I like Gary Vaynerchuk. He spoke about when he was in his 40s. Obviously, he's in his 40s now. And he's saying he feels like he's in his 20s. And he just said he feels so young. He feels refreshed because he knows that he's not even completed half his life yet, if he's due to stay healthy and look after himself. And then that's when I was like, that's such a perspective to have. Because when you think like that, a lot of the excuses people make not to do stuff is usually because, I'm too old to do this, I'm too old to do that.
Nah,
then now when you've seen someone like Gary who has that perspective, who says, I'm not old, I'm still young. And again, it's the mindset that you believe in. You can be 60. I was in the gym the other day. There was an 80-year-old man in the gym pushing weights like he was 16. And, you know, I'm thinking like, damn. And I'm like, that's because he believes he's still got it and he can still do it. So in essence, like we said earlier, the way you think, the way you conduct yourself, the way you believe, all of that comes down to your mindset. If you think a certain way, you're going to end up acting a certain way as well.
Another thing I want to talk about as well is what people you're going to react to and how people are going to react to your change in mindset. You're going to get people looking at you a certain way. They might say certain things, and that's really going to test you. It's really going to show whether you've really got it in you to sort of change and elevate. A lot of people are going to say, why is he switching up on me like this? Because you're not pushing him. You're not elevating him or her. Do you get it? So you need to really reduce the amount of people that you chill with that's not pushing you to get better.
It's true.
It's all about elevation. It's all about getting better, 1% better every single day.
Yeah, like and even just, you know, if you're trying to grow, you're trying to be better, how can you not be expected to change? You know, if you're staying the same, you're not making progress.
Fact.
If you're not changing, you're not making progress. So your core values don't change, but the person you become changes. What's important to you should never change, but the way you conduct yourself and the way you act, that has to change. You can't be someone who, you know, let's say if you're, again, someone in the gym and you're trying to be better, if you're going 3 days a week, you can't settle with 3 days a week. You should push for 4 or 5 days a week and then allow that to see the progression. That's a form of changing. And then you might see some people who get insecure because of that, and they just ask, like, why is that happening? Like, why are you going this much? Like, what's going on? But because they can't keep up, it makes them insecure. And they try to make you feel bad for the progression, which is why sometimes you do have to find new people to be around. You have to find new friends. Like, you know, when I got to a certain age and I started to want to live different and experience different things, and not even having money, like, money doesn't come into all of this. You don't need money to change your mindset and to empower who you are. You know, in essence, again, even that's another thing. A lot of people, you know, it's like, I need money to do this, I need money to do that, but you don't need a lot of money. There's been times where I've had less than £100 in my account, and I've travelled around the city of London for the whole month, and I've networked with people who have businesses, who are doing great things, who have given me their numbers. I've gone to different cities and seen massive buildings, inspirational people. They've invited me to their houses, we've chopped it up, we've chilled, you know, all of that essentially with no money. So yeah, but obviously the people that I was with, hanging around with before, you know, they were very used to just staying in the comfort zone and giving excuses rather than finding solutions. But for me, it was more of a thing where I saw a problem, I wanted to be the solution for that problem, and I decided to take action and to move with that. I didn't let my circumstances define who I was or where I was going, but rather I looked up to the people who were in the places that I wanted to be.
Simple.
And I said, I'm going to be like that as well. And I started to network with them. I started to reach out to them. They might not reply. They might reply. A lot of them didn't reply, but a lot of them did reply. And then they gave me the game through that I need to do this, I need to do that.
Even like a few sentences from someone that's leaps and bounds ahead of you can sort of change the trajectory that you're on.
Yeah,
even with the whole money thing, it's very easy to come up with excuses. Money's probably one of the biggest excuses. I can't do this because I don't have this amount of money. There are loads of things you can do without money.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
There's loads of things you can do without money, bro. You can learn. You learn is free. Like, books aren't that expensive.
Exactly.
The amount you can learn from a book is crazy. The amount of value you can take from books is nuts.
Yeah.
Books. What's the most you're going to spend on a book? What, 15 quid?
Yeah.
And how much are you going to take from that? It's
mad.
Crazy. Thousands.
Can't put a price on the value you're getting.
Simple.
Like, even go on YouTube, search, listen to this audiobook, listen to that audiobook, the summary of this, the summary of that.
Bro,
Google and YouTube, it's all free, you know?
All my friends know me. I love
everything.
YouTube, bro. If I don't know something, I'm YouTubing it. Straight up. I'm always on YouTube learning, getting better. And that's how you take in the game, adapt it to yourself, and then give it back out. You're going to get people coming to you asking certain questions, and then you have the game. Why am I gate guarding it? Let me just give it out. Even with the friends things as well. My mum always said to me, show me your 5 friends, and then I'll show you who you really are. And luckily for me, I have really good friends. So, but I know that other people don't. So it's like, if you're hanging around with a bum, you're hanging around 4 bums, guess who the 5th bum is?
It's yourself.
It's yourself, innit? But if you're hanging around 4 millionaires, who's going to be the next one? Most likely it's going to be you, innit? But that all comes with mindset. That comes from changing how you think about life in general, and then your actions will follow.
Yeah, for sure.
Simple as that.
For sure. How do you think mindset has helped you in your life so far coming across?
Definitely with business, uni, just life in general. First year antics.
Yeah,
Everyone's just moving nuts. Won't really focus on my studies too much. More focus on gal, but gal aren't gonna get me where I need to go. It's kind of backwards because the more successful you get, the easier. It's easier to get girls. So it's like, if that's your motivation, then that's your motivation. But it is what it is.
I feel like just even mindset, like we were speaking about earlier, just believing that you're gonna become something. If you really, really believe you're gonna become something and you have that mindset, you won't let obstacles deter you from that goal, but rather direct you. I was speaking to someone the other day, and they were telling me how, the journey was getting hard. They didn't feel like they could keep up with doing all the things they needed to do because there was so much failure and there were so many obstacles. And, I told them, failure is not the end of the road, it's the bend in the road. And a lot of times you need redirection because everyone makes mistakes. And a lot of times our pride will tell us we're not going the wrong way, but the reality is we're making a lot of wrong decisions. And the beauty of the failure is that it redirects us to take us to the right path. So when things go wrong, it's never a thing where you should be upset or you should be down, but rather, what can I learn from this instead of why is this happening to me? And then from that perspective, you have everything that comes to you, and through knowledge and wisdom and application, you're able to find yourself in a completely new direction. Of course, it might hurt now. It might not feel nice that, to be humbled and to be put in that place. But you look back, come a year later, and you're thankful that happened because you had a new perspective and a new direction in life.
But the thing is, the way I used to look at failure was right. There was one way, I tried to do something one way, and then if that way didn't work, I would scrap that whole idea. And then when I changed my mindset, I realized that when I failed one way, I now know that way didn't work.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean that I can't acquire that goal. I just need to find a different path.
It's a different route.
That's all it is. Failure is not the end.
Yeah.
If anything, you should strive to fail because you're going to find ways that don't work.
For sure.
And then the only thing that's left are ways that work.
Exactly.
You could find multiple ways to let's say, make a brand. There are loads of ways to even start a podcast, start a YouTube channel. There are loads of ways to start different things. Just because you fail once doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make you, you should never think of yourself as, I can't do this now because this way didn't work. Just find a different way.
And I always tell people as well, of course you want to get to the end goal, but your focus should never be, enjoy the process. Forget about the rewards of where this can get you and what it can give to you. If you don't enjoy what you're doing and you can't go through the process of the trials and the obstacles and everything because you're so focused on, I want this, I want that, I want this, you'll never go through the journey to take you to the end anyway. If you're allowing yourself to be, if you're desiring, the cars, the house, the money and all these kind of things, you'll never finish the journey because when you start, you're very far from all of those things. And to keep going, you need inspiration and you need small progress matters, and the little wins as well matter when you embrace them as well. If that's the end goal, and realistically, most people don't see those kind of things anyway. How are you gonna get through when you're passing through the process if that's all that's on your mind?
Bro, but even when that's the end goal, there's always gonna be a better car. Exactly. There's always gonna be a bigger house.
Exactly.
There's always gonna be something better. Satisfied. You're never satisfied if that's if that's what you're chasing. Then there's always gonna be something better.
There's something better, and it's that's why you see a lot of people there's a lot of people who have these things, and they've always come out and said, this stuff hasn't changed anything. If anything, it's made me realize how much it doesn't matter. And you see a lot of people who, they don't have happiness. They're not happy because they're watching what a next man has, because they don't have, like you said, people who are living in houses have houses, but they're upset because they're not living in mansions, but they've not taken into consideration the man in the street who's sleeping on the floor. He's looking at you, wanting to live like you, but you've neglected that because you're looking at someone else. But
that's all a mindset thing. That's even something I've started to do recently. It's called journaling. So every morning you write down one thing that you're grateful for, and that's really helped me sort of put things in perspective. That the cars, the houses, the money, it's not the end goal. You should be focusing on the things you already have. Exactly. Do you have a roof? Sure. Do you have food? Do you have access to go to places? Even a job. Do you have a job? Do you have money coming in? It's focus on what you do have instead of what you don't have. And then you're not going to be worrying about these silly things.
I think even with that as well, it doesn't mean you can't aspire to have more. It just means that you're grateful and you have gratitude And a lot of people, they think being grateful means you can't aspire to have more. Of course, I'm grateful, you know, I'm alive, I've got a bed, I'm living in a house, you know, I've got family that love me, I've got great people around me, you know, but of course, there are things that I want to do as well. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate what I have now, because I know someone else would appreciate everything that I have, someone who doesn't have it, you know, and that's why I think things like this are important, to be able to sit down and have these discussions and to help people fix their mind on the right things. Because even like when we look at life today, all the adverts, everything that's being pushed towards us, credit cards, cars, money, house, this, that, that's all that everyone's seeing. And of course, even though we're speaking about this now, it's hard for people to take that into consideration, because all they're seeing is the things that they're being projected to see. So a lot of this stuff is not as exposed to them as the other things. So when we sit down and we speak like this, you know, it helps them to be able to open their eyes and open their mind, and to be able to actually realize that, oh snap, I've never really heard something like this before. This is really what life's about. And it makes them feel good as well, whilst also allowing them to still aspire to have better things and maybe the other things that they want as well in this life.
It's sort of hard to disconnect from the whole social media thing. A lot of businesses, you're going to be on social media the majority of the time. So when you're seeing all these adverts, especially around the holiday season, you're going to be seeing all these different things being pushed at you. But I like to say you're no rush. You know, we're only 22, 23. Yeah, sure. People that are watching this could be in their 40s. Like, you're still young. You still got a lot of things to do, especially in this day and age with social media. You can literally do anything. You can make money doing anything. There's no rush. And the learning curve is quite small to the fact where you can learn off anything. There's so many places for you to acquire knowledge and then apply it to your said industry, right? Yeah, for sure. So it's like, there's not really any excuse, but it's hard to sort of keep up that mindset change when all these things are being pushed at you, right? But so what I want to tell people is that it's going to take a long time for you to sort of change it permanently, but it's the daily steps that's going to get you to where you want to go.
I think social media as well, like, social media is a blessing. A lot of people, the problem is not social media, the problem is people, because social media has changed many people's lives.
Facts.
But it's also made a lot of people insecure. But that insecurity has come from
the comparison,
the people's mistakes that they've made. No one forced you to go and look at Kim Kardashian's Instagram. No one forced you to go and look at Dwayne Johnson's Instagram. No one forced you to look at Ronaldo's cars and hate the fact he has the money to buy all these things. You're in control of what you want to look at. You have a search bar. Instagram sends you, the algorithm works in proportion to what you look at, what you spend most of the time looking at. And obviously, if you're seeing these things, then the problem is not social media. The problem is the way you're using social media. J. Cole said something very wise one time. He said that he took a break from social media. He came back and he realized nothing changed. And he realized that the problem was never social media. The problem was him. Because when he left and he came back, he still had the same problems he was having before. And for a lot of people, it's a very similar thing. It's almost like putting a plaster on top of a wound, but plasters don't last forever. You have to face it and you have to change yourself. And again, human beings, we look for scapegoats. We don't like to take responsibility and accept that this is our fault, we're at fault. The problem is us. But we'd rather find the thing to blame rather than take accountability for our own actions.
It's
so
true,
again,
you know?
I just think that that's even a mindset thing as well. Like, instead of putting the responsibility and the blame on other people, you have to take accountability, because you can blame this person, this app, this business, you can put the blame on other people, but at the end of the day, no one cares. The only change that you can really see is going to come from you. You know, we've seen like all the protests that have happened in the past couple of years. We've seen a lot of stuff that's happened in the past couple of years, which hasn't even changed much, because they don't care at the end of the day. Even when it comes to the Black Lives Matter stuff, you know, a lot of the protests and a lot of the things that were happening were people going to the police, but the police were the same ones who were conducting the assaults and the attacks on black people. So it didn't make sense that we was going to the people who were causing the problem, and that's why we didn't see any change, because they don't care. They were the ones inflicting. So why would they be the solution to the problem that they created? So again, you know, humans, we have to take that accountability and responsibility, and we have to think, how can I find a solution to this problem?
But even with social media, you're shown what you're interested in, right?
Exactly.
So if your feed is full of girls,
Exactly.
then
You're looking
that's
at
your
girls too
interest,
much,
right?
That's your business.
So if your feed is full of, let's say, property, then it's going to be because
Exactly.
you're interested in property.
Exactly.
Like, you're shown what you're interested in. They're not going to push our algorithm because the goal is to keep you on the app. So
That's what
if
I'm
you're
saying.
interested in good things and things that are going to elevate you, then social media is calm. But if you're constantly looking at bad things, women, cars, all you're going to do is compare yourself to them. For the Ronaldo thing, a lot of people see the end result,
Exactly.
him celebrating, but they don't understand the amount of hours he's put in on a daily consistent basis since he was 14, 13 to get him to where he is now. So people don't see the hard work, they just like to see the end result.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the mindset thing that you need to change. You need to look at that post and be like, rah, the amount of work he put in to get there is nuts.
Yeah,
What am I
true.
going to do to sort of emulate that and elevate that? People like Ronaldo, people you should look up to.
For real.
He's inspirational, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, like even when the book Reality of True Happiness, my first book, I spoke about Ronaldo's life story. A lot of people don't know when Ronaldo was about 15 in Portugal, he was eating McDonald's from the bin that people had thrown away after they'd finished, you know. And a lot, like you said, a lot of people will see his end product now, but they don't know that where he started, he was struggling. His mom, family, his dad died, everything, like it was just nuts. Like I said, he was eating McDonald's out of a bin, you know. And most people haven't had to live like that to that extent, and so obviously if Ronaldo can come from that and make himself who he is today, you know, you can essentially take yourself to go and even become better than Ronaldo or greater than Ronaldo in whatever you do. But again, it's like you said, to use that as inspiration. You know, a successful friend is the best asset you can have, but one that many resent the most. Around people, if you have someone who's doing well for themselves, it can make the others around them very, very insecure and uncomfortable. But that's where
That's a mindset thing, isn't it?
exactly. You miss out on what's there presented to you because of that mindset. If you change the mindset to, oh wow, this person's doing so well, they're doing great, I'm inspired, what can I learn from them? And you was around them all the time, asking them questions all the time, you would see so much change. But instead, people would rather spread bad energy, hate, gossip about the people behind their backs. And then it's like, you have an opportunity, right? Everything you're looking for is this person can give to you in terms of wisdom and knowledge and experience, and even share their life experiences with you to give you more hope and to show you what life can really be like. But instead, you know, you're there with bad energy and just hating, you know?
Yeah, but I find that so weird though, that you can look at someone that's better than you,
Yeah.
and more successful, and instead of you thinking, oh, I'm going to learn from this person, you decide to be like, oh, he's only there because of this.
That's what I'm saying.
I would be there if I did this as well.
That's what I'm
No,
saying.
he's there because he put in the work. You need to learn from him. Don't hate on him. It doesn't make no sense. You're not going to get to where you need to go hating on other people. This is why I say it's lonely at the top, because a lot of people envy where you're at instead of looking at you as a pillar of inspiration,
Yeah.
which I find sort of backwards. But then it all comes back to a sort of mindset sort of thing. So how do you look at situations? Because how you look at situations is going to affect your actions, and then your actions are going to affect the outcome.
It's true. I think even like you said, when a lot of people say like it's lonely at the top, even recently, like I've come to find it doesn't have to be lonely at the top, but it can be, because there's a lot of successful people in the world. But the problem being is that people surround themselves with the wrong people. I was listening to an interview recently, and the person had said that when they became very successful, they had to leave where they came from. And every time they'd come back to help, again, the mindset of the people there was like, he's coming back to show off his stuff. He thinks he's better than us. He's come to flex. But he was coming back to give back, like, oh, this is what happened to me. I can help you do this. I can help you do that. He was giving them money, trying to help the poor people in their hood with buying them foods, clothes, groceries, everything that they needed. And more importantly, he was giving them the wisdom and the knowledge, like telling them the things he'd learned. But every time, because of their mindset, that when he came back, they missed all of that, and they couldn't see the bigger picture. So it got to a point where
he stopped.
He had to, and you know, as harsh as it is, sometimes you have to cut off those branches. As much as you want to come back, you don't have to be in the place of giving back to be able to give back. You don't need to come all the way back to that place to be able to give back. You can give back from a distance, because you have to protect yourself. You know, what good is it to help everyone and then not help yourself? And then you're the one that's left for dead come the end of it, and no one else wants to help you. You hear so many stories that people, they spend their whole life giving to others, but they then forget about themselves, then now everyone else has everything, they have nothing, and then these people are gone and they're not there again, which is why it's important to have the right people around you.
Yeah, so what I wanted to ask you was, so let's say someone's mindset is just completely tapped. They're comparing themselves to each other. They're hating. So what actionable steps would you recommend someone to actually take to change their mindset?
I think you have to know the only competition you truly have is yourself.
Facts.
Everyone started from different places. Everyone was born in different countries. Everyone was born into different families, and those are things you can't control. You have to focus on what you can control. You can't control your past, but you can control your present, and that will allow you to control your future as well. So yeah, like for me, myself, I don't compare myself with anyone. I'm quite fortunate enough to have great people around me who are doing great things. Spoken to a lot of people who are doing great things. That when I was a kid, you know, I looked up to them and I was like, it'd be cool to have a relationship with you. And now I can call them and, you know, they can give me advice. But that all came from me not seeing them as competition, but rather as inspiration. But in terms of competition, I believe that the only competition you have is yourself, and the way to track progress of that competition, because a lot of people don't really understand that you today and the version of yourself in 6 months' time should be better. If it's not better, you've not beat your competition. But if it is better, you're ahead of your competition. So yeah, that's how I look at everything. It's about me. I don't compare myself with other people, but I use everything else as inspiration. For example, fashion related, you've got people like Reese Wabara, Mikey Trapstar, Mr. Benjart. Those are all people who are very inspirational for me. They're from UK. They're doing great things. Unfortunately enough, you know, I'm able to have conversations with these people. They've said some very nice things to me, and I've shown them love. They've shown me love. It's all blessed. So again, I could look at what they're doing. I saw Trapstar Black Friday. I think they had about 20k sales. Reese Wabara made 5 million on Black Friday from one day.
Absolutely nuts.
I could have looked at that and I could have said, oh snap, like they're just da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah,
but that would be false, because they're great people. They're doing great things. I'm inspired by that. I can message them and just be like, oh, that's very inspirational, bro. Like, what game do you have as to how maybe I can conduct myself, and how can I carry myself to maybe head in this type of direction? You know, and that's a perspective change. Again, it's like, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from these guys? And again, that comes back to me being my only competition. Me now, what am I looking at now that could enable me to apply during the next 6 month period? That when I get to the 6 month period, I can look back and say, I've defeated the competition, and I need to keep defeating the competition. Then the next 6 months, and the next 6 months, and the next 6 months, and it just keeps going.
Simple. I like what you said about the Reese Wabara thing and the sort of comparing yourself to others. I think competition can be good at times.
Yeah, for sure.
Depending on who you're around, which is why I say you should start with the people around you. So if you want to change your mindset, you need to look at the people you spend the most time with, and be like, ask yourself this one question: are they elevating me? Are they making me get better? What are they doing on a daily basis that's gonna help me, and what am I doing that's gonna help them? What are the conversations we're talking about? Are we talking about finances? Are we talking about improving ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually? If you're religious, for example, I know you're religious. So how are they improving your life, and how are you improving theirs? If they're not improving it, then you need to get rid of them. It's as simple as that.
I think as well, like, again, in the book, my first book, Reality of True Happiness, I spoke about, like you said, competition, Messi and Ronaldo. You know, Messi goes as hard as he does because he wants to be the best, but he knows Ronaldo's behind.
Simple.
Ronaldo's there.
Because imagine there was no, let's say it was just Messi, and then everyone else was leaps and bounds behind him.
He would fall off. He would lack. Yeah, and then it's the same for Ronaldo. Ronaldo goes as hard as he does because he knows Messi's behind him. You know, and when you've got that kind of pressure behind you, you know, it brings out greatness in you because there's something behind you. Your back's against the wall.
It's not even just them two as well. Like, you've got other players that are just, of course, pushing them as well.
Obviously, even at that level, you know, those two are competing. They're miles ahead of everyone else.
But they've been competing for years. Like.
Exactly. And it's like, if Messi wasn't there, I don't think Ronaldo would be who he is. And if Ronaldo wasn't there, I don't think Messi would be who he is. It's because of that pressure of someone else could take what I want and someone else can take what's mine. That pushes you to go the extra mile. Like Ronaldo, even the influence he has is crazy. Like, he went to the Man United dressing room on his first session. He didn't touch the apple crumble, and none of the players touched it.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But Demlot was eating it all the time when he was before he came. So he didn't say anything. He didn't tell them. He just focused on himself. and wanted to do the best things that he could do for himself, and that in essence led him to become who he is today. And like we was talking about the competition thing, I think it just depends on, again, your mindset. If you're something, you have to be honest with yourself as well. If you're someone who you feel like you can't handle looking at other people, and you don't know how to take what should be inspiration, and you take it instead as a play that makes you insecure, then stay away from watching people, because you know your weak spot and your blind spot is, regardless of how hard I try to make this an inspiration move, it's going to come back and bite me, and I'm going to become insecure. But if you can handle that and you don't have that problem, then by all means, you know, watch people, be inspired. You know, when I see the man them killing it, that inspires me. I'm like, damn, like, you know,
especially when they've come from where you've come from as well.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, especially when you were sitting in class with them.
Yeah.
Like, we grew up together, and he's over here now. So what's the excuse for me not being there? You know, let me learn from him, let me elevate as well, and get myself to that sort of position. We sort of push each other to be better, because we're gonna do better. We need to do better. Simple as that. I think it's so great when you have like-minded people around you. It matters so much. It pushes you so much. I can't emphasize enough how important it is, bro. Like, literally, if the people around you are lazy, I'm telling you, you're gonna be lazy. It's so hard to elevate when the people around you are not elevating. Even you have to be alone for a year, 2 years, until you can find the people that you need to be around. Do it.
I think even like you said, the people around you are lazy, you're going to be lazy. And I think as well with that as well, if the people around you are lazy, maybe you're not too lazy, but you'll become complacent because you've looked at these people around you and you're thinking, oh, I'm the head of the pack.
Again, that's a mindset thing.
You should never be
yourself.
You should never be the head of the pack. If you're in a circle, that's not even a circle. If you're in a group of friendships and you feel like you're the head of the pack, you know, you're in a cage. It's not a circle. You're in a box. And essentially you need to get out and you need to find somewhere where you can look up and you can see that there's inspiration above you. Because if you're in a box and you're the head of the pack and you're looking up, you're not going to see nothing. There's nowhere for you to look. There's nowhere for you to go. But the people below you, they've got you. And essentially, instead of them being behind you, they're going to be ahead of you and you're going to be at the bottom now. And that's not good for your progress. So for me, it's always been a thing of, if I've ever felt like I'm around people and I felt like I'm the hardest worker, I'm putting in the most work, I'm the most dedicated to what I'm doing, I've always removed myself away from that situation, because I'm not the best. I never want to be in a place where I feel like I am the best. I always want to be in a place where I feel like I'm learning. Again, I do want to feel like I'm the best, but not from a place of, oh, I'm the best. Like I'm the best. I've got no one to look at. I know everything. You know, people that believe they know everything, they know nothing, because the pride and the arrogance, and they don't learn anything because they think they know everything. But in this life, it's a constant journey of you're constantly learning, you're constantly seeking knowledge, wisdom, people that are better than you. Because again, if you don't have anyone to look up to, you're not looking up to anything. You're not taking anything from anywhere, and it ruins the progression and the growth. So like you said, it should never be you being around a group of people and you feeling like you're the head of the pack, like you're clear, you're gone, because everyone else around you has something to take, but you have nothing to take from. You give, but you don't get back. Eventually you're going to hit empty. And once you hit empty, where's the recharge? There is no recharge.
I think that's even where mentorship comes into play. Having someone that you can constantly look up to, that's just leaps and bounds ahead of you, always giving you free game. Always having someone there you can just go to and be like, yo, bro, I'm feeling a bit lost. I might be ahead in front, like compared to my friends, but I know that you're here and that's where I want to be, sort of thing. So I feel like once you pattern your friends and once you get the right friends around you, look for someone that's literally leaps and bounds ahead of you. Even you have to pay. Like, I don't mind paying for someone to mentor me.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Because imagine the value you'd get if Gary Vee mentored you.
Yeah, it's different still.
Even athletes, like, imagine you could just have a quick 2-hour conversation with, like, Ronaldo. Imagine what you could draw from that conversation. It's absolutely nuts.
And I think as well, you just mentioned something now about the whole subject of just like the inspiration and the mentorship.
Yeah.
I think as well, people, they overcomplicate it. A mentor doesn't have to be someone you have a personal relationship with, someone that you speak to every day. A mentor can be books. A mentor can be YouTube videos. It can be Google. A mentor Well, mentorship is anything you can gain and seek knowledge from. Me, myself, I wouldn't say I have a person as a mentor. I've got books though, and I've got the internet, I've got Google. So for people who feel like they don't have anyone that can, and again, the mentorship doesn't have to be like this organized fix. I've got people I'll call and I'll say, bro, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I've got people that I reach out to for advice. I've got people that help me when I need help with doing X, Y, Z. That in itself is a form of mentorship.
Sort of like a big brother thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Having someone you can just call upon. But if you can have someone there physically that you sort of have that personal relationship with, it's brilliant. My life has changed ever since I got my mentor. He's helped me change my mindset. Everything changed from the day I met him, which is funny because I met him working in co-op. So it's like, it's so crazy the way he's changed my entire life and how he's made me change how I think about things, what I do, what I invest in, the people I hang around. It's just incredible where your mindset can actually take you and how important it is.
And again, it just comes all down to believing. Again, like I said earlier, it's a funny one because even like I mentioned earlier about not feeling like you're the best, but at the same time you have to believe you're the best, because if you're doing anything, you're not there to be second, you're there to be first. But then again, what does being first mean to you? Different things mean different stuff to different people. So, you know, being first to someone might mean that they've got the best amount of sales. Being first to someone else might mean that their customers are satisfied. There's two very different things. So I think it's just to be the best at whatever you want to do. But at the same time, you have to remember that I'm not the best. There's people I need to learn from. So it's a funny one. But yeah, no, that's like myself. Like obviously with everything I do, with the books, you know, I'll be a best-selling author with the fashion label. I'll have one of the best fashion labels in the world. This will be one of the best podcasts in the world. And when you think like that, the work rate's different because you're not waiting to become something. I'm already this thing. I need to get it cracking. If I don't do it, how can I be the best if I'm not putting in the work every day? That's not what the best puts in the work all the time.
You know what you're working for because of the end goal.
That's what I'm saying. So when you think like that, but again, I think like that, but I also know I don't know the most. I need to read books. I need to research. I need to watch YouTube videos. I need to be on Google. I need to be smashing it. I just need to be having things downloaded into my system. So again, I'm able to better myself and improve myself, and believing I'm not the best is what takes me to being the best. And also allows me to be the best right now. So again, yeah, it's a mad one to wrap your head around, but yeah, it's a system a lot of the greats have used, and again, like, it does work. It's a very powerful way of thinking. I never really used to understand it before, but now that I'm on this journey, you know, I know that I can believe that I am the best, but I can still know that I'm not that guy.
Yeah,
but I am that guy.
You're gonna be that guy. Yeah,
exactly.
But it's a lot to take in as well. But for me, it's just about take little steps at a time, change little things one by one. Don't try to change all of it at once.
Little progress.
You're just gonna overload yourself. Always compare yourself. I say in 6 month increments.
Yeah.
So look at yourself now, and then look at yourself 6 months in the future, and then look at yourself again in 6 months. That way you're gonna see the most changes as long as you're putting in the work daily, and making sure that you're disciplined, and not only disciplined but consistent as well. Consistency is the key to everything. No matter what you do, if you do it once, you're not going to see any progress.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you do it 100, 1,000 times, you're definitely going to see some progress. But there's a lot of people give up, and that's, again, it comes down to the mindset. What do you want? Do you have a goal? Do you have a vision of the person you want to be in 10 years? Now you need to work backwards. What do I need to do to become that person?
And I think as well, like, even the bigger picture from that, essentially take each day as it comes. Sometimes people get lost in the long-term picture. Should always be at the back of your mind, but the main focus should always be, what am I doing today? Like you said, the consistency. If I can repeat 365 days, well, I might have a few off days, but if the most of the days are better than the bad ones, that's fine. If I can do that for 10 years, 365, if I can do that for 3,650 days, do you get it? I've hit 10 years, but I've not even known I've hit 10 years. It's been a daily thing. And I look back and I'm like, oh snap, it's been 10 years. But because I was focusing on the day to day, some people, they've got the 10-year goal, but they don't have the daily goal. They don't have the weekly goal.
Simple.
And essentially, you're only going to get to that bigger picture by taking each day as it comes. There's no good of you being consistent on a yearly basis, but you can't be consistent on a daily basis because you've lost the point of the vision then. And then it hits the 10-year point and you ask yourself what happened, but then you're so focused on the yearly progress, you didn't focus on the daily progress. So I think, again, like, it's just all about looking at your problems. Instead of focusing on the fruit, focus on the root. The problems are always in the root. Again, like we said, especially with like the whole inspiration thing and looking at successful people. When I look at someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, as much as I look at what he's doing now, I look more so at what he was doing before who he became who he was, because that's where all the gems are. Kanye West, great man, great man, extremely successful, killing it. But everyone neglects the journey of how he got to where he was. Everyone's focused on who he is now. No one's focused on who he was before now. But he got to who he was now by the journey of who he was before. So a lot of the interviews I watch of Kanye West, they're all from before who he became who he was now, because essentially the advice he's going to give is different now to what it was before. Before, when he's on the process, he's giving the advice of, this is what's going to happen. This is what I'm doing right now. But then now, the advice would be different because he's in a completely different space. Some stuff will be the same of the consistency, but the things that took him from where he was to where he is now, there's gems in there that might not be with him today because he's in a completely different space of life.
It's actually incredible what consistency can actually do for you in terms of thinking about how you're doing something as well. So let's say you have a task and you have a goal. Let's say you have a 10-year goal. The way I've always attacked tasks is I've worked backwards. You work backwards to create monthly goals, and then you work backwards to create daily goals, and then weekly goals. It's the little things, doing the little things over and over and over and over again to the point where you're going to get to this point and you've realised that, right, I've done so much work and I'm now a completely different person than where I am. And then you look at that same person, you do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Even in fashion, because I know we're both in fashion, it's very easy to compare ourselves to the big brands, but you need to realise that the Louis Vuittons, the Guccis, the Saint Laurents, they've been around for decades, and they might be doing mad stuff now, but that's because they've put in the work for years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think as well, again, like you said, it goes back to that mindset. Do you look at what they're doing and do you see it as a thing where you hate on it, you're jealous, you're giving a bad energy, or do you see it as more inspiration? You know, like, wow, they did this in this amount of time. Can I do it in a shorter time? But if I don't, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, direction is more important than speed. It doesn't matter when what happens or how it happens. What matters is that it happens.
Fact.
And then everything after that is whatever, it's fine. It doesn't matter what you've had to go through. You know, the game is long. You know, it might have to be 15, 20, 30 years of hardship, but the 31st year is sweet. And then you've learned the experiences from that long journey, and you can go on now with the rest of your life to know that I've passed that stage. Of course, the struggles still come, and even more so, the struggles are bigger, the obstacles are harder, the challenges are harder, but you're prepared to deal with them now. People always think that, you know, the more successful you become in life, the easier life gets. It gets harder.
To keep it up.
It gets harder because the decisions are more costly now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that yesterday. You got more
obviously
to lose
a madness. Yeah, that madness happened. But before it happened, you know, I was in a place where it was like, damn, like I'm not where I was before. This small decision that I would have made 2 years ago wouldn't have hit me back then, but now this decision could just kill me and cost everything. So that's when it changed my perspective, just like being in a completely different space. Like I've experienced the extreme highs and the extreme lows of life. Yeah, so like when I always hear people say, I was in the shop the other day and I heard a man say, I was reading a book, Shoe Dog, Phil Knight. I was reading that, and the guy in the shop said to me, oh, you know, all these guys started with money, like they had it easy. And I had to say to him, like, because you have money, it doesn't mean it's easier. It's actually harder, because if I
Doesn't
don't have
make
money and I make the mistakes, it doesn't cost anything.
Doesn't cost anything.
But if I've got money and I make the mistakes, oh my gosh, I'm finished. Like, what am I gonna do?
Especially if that money's not even yours.
Bro,
Especially
that's
if
what I'm
it's
saying.
credit.
So it's like,
nuts.
when you've got everything to lose, your decisions are more costly. When you've got nothing to lose, take all the risk. That's what, like, us being young now, we don't have family, we don't have kids. A lot of people watching this as well, they've not got kids, they've not got families. You know, you're living at home still. Now is the time to really, do you get it? Like, if you're getting paid, let's say if someone's getting paid 1.5, 2K a month, you take all that money and you go put it in and try to do something, whether it's a business, an investment, or whatever it is. And if you lose all that money, it doesn't matter. The next month comes, you don't have a wife, kids, a mortgage to pay, you're fine. Like, you can essentially lose everything up until the point where one of these moves pays off, and it's like, okay, cool, now I can really start. But then even from that point, the decision making has to be better, because you're not in the place you once was before. You could lose everything before and it's cool, it's back. But if someone now, let's say someone starts a business with about 5K, in about 2 years' time, let's say they've made 100K. The mistakes you was making before when you was at 2K, 5K, you can't go and make those same mistakes at 100K now, because
the opportunity cost of that money is a lot more.
Exactly. And
Simple.
if you lose 5K, you're not bugging. Like, a couple months, a month, 3 months, 4 months, like, you're cool. 100 bags, it took you 2 years to go from that place. And that was with money. So now when you make that bad decision of you lost everything, but even then, it's calm, because you start again and you've got knowledge now.
You've got the knowledge, expertise to get to the same point.
For real. So, yeah, like, I think it's just, like we said, the mindset, man. You have to believe that regardless of what happens on the journey, you're going to get there. And essentially, you have to believe that you're already there, but you've just not seen it yet. So, like I told, like, I've got affirmations, you know, all my affirmations, they're not, I will. It's I am.
Simple,
I am.
Part of journaling as well. Saying,
and I'm telling myself, I am every day.
Yeah.
I'm telling myself, this is who I am. And like I mentioned earlier, once I know, you know, I'm telling myself every day, I've got one of the best fashion brands in the world. I'm going to move like someone who does have do you get it? But if I'm telling myself I will one day, I'm waiting. And what am I waiting for? I'm not moving correct. So
it's crazy how just changing vocabulary can actually have such a huge impact.
That's what I'm saying,
on your thought process as well. And I wanted to just dab a little bit before we wrap this up on how your mindset affects how you view delayed gratification versus instant gratification. Once you change that, once you sort of flip that switch, you're going to realize that delayed is what you're after.
Exactly.
A lot of people want things now.
No.
They want it. Give me it now.
Microwave success.
Give me it now. They want it now. They want to put in a week's worth of work and then see the results instantly. And then when you don't see the results, you're going to get discouraged and you're going to start again. It's the same thing. Even before, when I used to go to the gym, like when I was 16, 17, I used to go gym for like maybe 2 weeks and I didn't see any progress, and I'd get disheartened and I'd go back to Morley's with the boys. And then I'd be fat again. Like, it was hella weird. But now I'm like, okay, I'm taking daily pics, weekly pics, monthly pics, sending them to my boys. My boys can see, oh yeah, you're losing weight here. But the old me would have stopped. After I didn't see progress after a week. But that's the mindset shift from delayed to instant. I feel that's so important as well.
I think, like you said, the delayed gratification is the best thing ever. Like, you don't want it to happen now, because you're gonna go from 0 to 50 to 100 back to 60, and then when you're at 60, you're gonna feel like you're doing bad, but you're better than 0. You're not doing bad. You're doing well, but because you've been at 100, there becomes a problem. So for me, the whole thing is always like, you don't want it to happen fast, because again, it's not about what the game gives you. It's not about the rewards. It's not about what you have. It's about what you can give to others. And that's not material. Give is, what do I know? What can I help other people with? If it happens like this, if it happens quick, you're not learning much. You've not essentially learned enough.
It can be scary as well. Like, even quick money is scary.
Dangerous, bro.
Just as how quick as you got it is how quick it can leave.
And you forget to appreciate everything.
Simple.
When it happens quick, you don't appreciate.
Because you never know when you're going to get that money back as well, especially if it's quick. But if it's over a long term, and you can actually make that money back yearly, on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, it's a lot easier to manage as well. It's like, you could get 20 bags here from doing something mad, when you're going to get the next 20 racks. But if you invest in even a skill, put yourself out there, and just make money on a consistent basis, it's a lot better.
And I think as well, like, just the the focus should never be on like what am I getting from this materially, but rather life is all about learning, man. That's why I love Stoics. I love Stoicism. You know, Seneca, Ephesus, Aristotle, all of these, man. The principles they spoke about centuries ago
are
they're still
used
living
today.
through this day.
Yeah,
And these are the things that the people are living off. All the people who are really like doing their thing and doing really well, those principles that they speak about today have come from these men from years back. So again, like the goal should never be like, I want this house, I want this. Like, if those things come, it's fine, it's cool, enjoy it. But you should never allow yourself to be destroyed because you didn't get a Lamborghini.
Yeah,
Like,
don't think you're a
that's
failure
mad.
because you haven't got a Lambo.
Bro,
Like,
that's
it's not-
mad. Like,
but-
I saw someone say, they said that they would rather cry in a Lamborghini than be happy in a Toyota. And I said, what has this world come to? Like, that's mad.
Bro,
That's
God,
mad.
Like, at the end of the day, the car, the function is to get you from point
A to B.
So it's
It
like,
doesn't matter.
doesn't really matter.
But if it comes, it's cool. But if it doesn't,
But it's
it's
so
cool
mad
too.
how people think that because I don't have this, I'm not successful.
yeah.
Do you get where success is subjective?
Bro, yeah. Even like myself, I'll be so real. A couple years back, I didn't really have this perspective now. And I was
Same
quite-
with me.
I was a bit down, so to say. 2 years ago, I was 21 now. 2 years ago, I was down. I was 21, working hard. Like everyone knows the work ethic. I was like 18, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not a joke. But I'm hitting a place now where I'm like, damn, like what do I have to show for it? And obviously, I had a conversation with my parents, and they were just telling me like, you've done this at this age. People have said this about you. I had to, I was 20, 21. I'd been on the radio several times. My brand been in GQ. There's an article about me on Medium, and I had to look at that and I say, how can I neglect all of this just because of stupid things like materialism? And again, I had to change my perspective because I was going through my DMs that day, and I come across a few messages, bro. People telling me that because of some game I gave them, it stopped them from killing themselves. And I said, that is more important
That's
than
what you're working for.
any
providing
Lamborghini,
value, bro.
any Rolls
Yeah.
Royce. Like, don't get it wrong. Like, the stuff is nice. Like,
It's
we've
nice,
experienced the stuff. Like, it's
Yeah,
cool, but it's not. It
after
doesn't
a while,
matter.
It gets
It doesn't
boring,
matter.
Like,
Like, I used to desire the Rolls Royce. I used to desire the Lamborghini. And then obviously, fortunately enough, I was able to just network with some cool people that would allow me to experience these things on a regular basis. And after a month, I was just like, why did I give so much energy to wanting this? A lot of people as well, they get it. After a week, I don't want it anymore. I need the new one. I need the new, like you said, there's always a better house, there's a better car, there's a better everything. So you can never let your happiness be in these things.
But for me, that's just human behavior in general. A lot of people want what they can't have.
Yeah.
And as soon as they acquire it, they don't want it no more because they're always onto the new thing.
Yeah, it's facts.
That's something that sort of needs to change as quickly as you can change it.
For real.
Because the way life is, everything's always going to be evolving. So you're never going to have the top thing for long.
Yeah,
Like
for
you're never
sure.
going to have the fastest car or the biggest house for long. Everything's just instantaneous. It's going to be, you had the biggest house in that moment. 10 minutes later, the bigger house can be
Bro.
built. Like, I'm going to need that house. It's weird. That way you lose a lot of money doing that as well.
Yeah.
It's like you don't see the value in what you already have.
Yeah. I think it's just to be grateful, man. And just to, again, like the whole topic of this discussion, like, how much does mindset matter? It matters a lot. Evidentially, as we've spoken about. Life is never about what happens to you, but how you think about it. It's your mindset.
Simple as that.
90%, 10% of this life is what happens to you. 90% of it is how you think about what's happened to you and how you bounce back from that.
Because that affects your actions.
That's
And
what
then
I'm saying.
the actions affect the outcome.
Exactly. So yeah, you just always have to, your mindset, man, it just has to be powerful. Like, you just have to believe in yourself, believe in everything you're doing. Never let anyone tell you can't do anything.
Never, bro. That's so important. Never let anyone say you can't do this. Like, as soon as someone says you can't do that, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it. And then when I do it, I'm gonna send it to you.
And I think even a bigger picture on that, prove yourself right.
Simple.
Do it for you. Again, like, just wild stuff, bro. Like,
But I like hearing that though, because it's like fuel in it. It's like,
Yeah, like
how can you look at me and I tell you something, I want to do something, and then the first thing you say is, "Oh, you can't do that because of this." Like that just shows to me that you are someone I should never really be talking to ever again.
yeah,
Because that sort of, I don't really need that in my life. I don't really need
Yeah,
someone
for
putting me
sure.
down like that.
I think like you said again, the mindset. A lot of people would hear something like that and they're getting upset. They get disheartened, but you can use that as fuel to the fire
Simple.
and use it to amp yourself. And, bro, even like obviously you went uni, I didn't go uni.
Yeah.
I had cool grades, everything, but I just felt like I knew what I wanted to do at the time. And obviously at the time I was playing football semi-pro. Had a few academy experiences as well during the younger days. But when I finished sixth form, I was like, it's a football thing straight. You know, I'm 16, I'm playing semi-pro, I'm playing men's football. By the time I'm 20, I will be playing in the Prem or something like that.
Mm.
And then I hit 19, started the business. I was 18 actually, started the business. And I was, because I remember it was the last couple, actually it might have been 17, whenever. When you were in sixth form, last year sixth form, innit? When you're crossing past 2 ages. I think 17, 18, innit? That you're crossing the 2 ages.
Yeah, for
16, 17, 17, 18. Yeah.
yeah.
That was the age where I was crossing. Last couple months of sixth form, I started the business. I brought my hats into school. Sixth form. Brought my hats into sixth form. Everyone was gassed. Everyone was pumped. You know, even my teachers, bro, they were so happy. And even though I didn't go uni is a great thing. Like, even myself, I'll be so raw. When I'm thinking of, I'm definitely going to go uni before I die anyway, because I enjoy learning. I think it was at the time, with everything happening, I couldn't miss the opportunity of what was about to happen. Uni's great. It's not a bad thing at all. But for me at the moment in time, it was, if you know what you want to do, chase. Uni's there forever. You can always go back and get your degree.
That's sort of one thing I sort of regret, going straight into uni. I only really went because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted to study something that would be applicable in the next 50 years, which was accounting and finance. You know that finance is always going to be something that's desired. But I wish I took a few months or even like a year just to figure out what I wanted to do. But that's sort of something.
I feel like that's life, innit?
Yeah.
I feel like as well, like, if you hadn't have gone uni, you might not have been where you are today. So there's always a positive from
even the people I met.
Yeah.
I met people at uni that have completely changed my life.
Everyone's path is different, innit? It was just for me, like at that moment in time, there was so much happening. The brand was growing in a way I didn't really think, because I was very focused on football. I wasn't really putting time into the brand. But when I seen the brand was making more sense, I was supposed to have pre-season, but I didn't go. I told the manager I wasn't going to come pre-season, because I was deciding if I was going to play that season or not. And then that's when I committed to the brand. You know, I was fortunate enough I was with the likes of Maya Jama, Talisa, Javan Wade, you know, all because of fashion. Like, they respected everything I was doing. And I was like, wow, like, this is people, like, you know, like I said, I was in primary school playing N-dubs on the radio. And I was like, damn, like, Talisa's cool. Bro, like, 10 years later, we're in the same house, taking pictures. She followed me on Instagram. She gave me her personal email. I'm like, damn. That's when I was kind of like, if something like this can happen because of what I'm doing with the fashion, let me take the fashion route, you know. And that's essentially when I started to go down the fashion route. And again, like, I had so many people in my last year of sixth form, they was just like, why are you not going uni? Like, are you sure you know what you're doing? Like, this, that. And I was just like, yeah, I'm cool. But they doubted me. But I had my form tutor, his name was Mr. Redding. Shout out Mr. Redding. Yeah, nah, bro. He believed in me. Like, I didn't apply to UCAS. I was one of the few. And I think I tried to 3 times, but I couldn't send it off for some reason. It just didn't feel right. And I'm someone that I can't do things that don't seem logical. There always needs to be a reason behind something I do. I can't just do anything for the sake of it. So I didn't send it off. And he asked me why not. And I told him I just don't want to go. But obviously he knew my work ethic. He knew I was an intelligent man. And he said, I trust you, whatever you're doing, I know it's going to work out. Gave me his email. I think I emailed him like 2 years ago, updating him with everything that was happening. He was proud. He was about to get married, in it, so he didn't really have too much time to conversate too much. But yeah, no, it's like you said, the influences in your life, bro. Like, I even had a teacher in secondary school. His name was Mr. Barner. He was my form tutor and my science teacher as well.
Yeah.
Bro, he was quite tough on me for the first couple of years, but I was a very bad kid. But he cared. It was because he cared, and I knew that he cared because he called my mum in and he told my mum how much potential I had as a person, like just away from school, just who I was. Of course, in school and outside of school, just I had a lot of potential. He told my mum, and I think after that year, for the next 2 years, so year 9, year 10, bro, like best grades I'd, obviously apart from GCSEs, those were the best grades that I'd had throughout the school term. Like he saw me change and develop, and he would always tell me, like, every single day I'd seen him, he was like just monitoring me, checking on me, not from a place of like he wanted to get me down, but just like, Jordan, who are you surround yourself with? Are you with this person? He's seeing more than I'm seeing. So he was letting me know that maybe if someone I was hanging around with was a bad influence.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the person's name, but there was one person he would always tell me not to hang around with. And where that person is today, you know, like Mr. Barner was right to guide me to not hang around with him. And it was only because of Mr. Barner I didn't hang around with my man. So yeah, no, like when I went back to secondary school, it was nice. I had the book, I had the fashion label. They asked me to speak in front of the year 11s, you know, so, and there's pictures of me in the secondary school now. So to go from that, what I once was, just getting in trouble all the time, doing madnesses, to now, you know, being able to walk in the school building and see that there's, you know, writings about me and pictures. It's mad.
Not, even when I think back to like my school days, I realise now that my teachers were actually looking out for me in the long run. I was always the kid with potential. Like when they came into what's it called? Where the parents, that's it, parents. Yeah. Even they always be like, "Oh, Cameron, he has potential, but he's always distracted because he's hanging around with these people." But for me, when I was at school, I was just looking to have a bit of fun. But it's only now I realised that when they were calling me and my maths teacher, Mr. Bat, shout out Mr. Bat, economics teacher, Mr. John, business teacher, they were telling me, "Yo, you need to be doing this. You need to be working this sort of way." And I didn't really see it until like a year ago.
You get older, yeah, maturity,
like,
man.
It's like I wish when I look back, I'd be like, raw. I wish I would have done that. It's so important to sort of listen to those sort of people, and I wish I knew back then what I thought now, basically.
Yeah, I think like again, just to wrap up, just the whole mindset topic. Again, like faith is so important. You just have to believe in yourself, man.
It starts with yourself.
Especially
if you don't believe, who else is going to believe in you?
Exactly. And I think like, just as, you know, being like a person who believes in just like God, the Christian, just like knowing that there's a man above, a higher power who has planned out your life for greatness, that comfort of, even if when things are bad, when life is moving a bit silly, I know that God's got me. Whatever life throws at me, I know God's going to intervene and deal with that on my behalf and create the path for me to be able to ride through anything that life can throw my way. So again, like I think faith is a very important thing.
It's something that can definitely keep you grounded.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep you away from certain people, keep you away from certain things.
And I think as well, like if I wasn't a person of faith, if I didn't believe in God, I wouldn't be able to have the self-confidence I have now, because every time, you know, as a child of God, I know that I'm a conqueror, I'm a victor. I've won. Do you get it? Like, it's finished. I've won. Like, life is mine. That holds me through the rough times.
Even the concept of your brand is linked to faith as well.
Yeah.
So it's
Inspired
like
dynasty. Inspiring many generations. Like, it all comes together.
So without faith, do you think the brand would exist? Or
Nah.
So it's so important to have.
Because even like,
it doesn't even have to be faith. It just has to be something that you sort of believe in.
Yeah.
Anything that can back you. That can even be a person, a thing, object. It can be anything. Something that sort of drives you to keep you grounded. I think it's so important that people have that.
For sure.
Even a mentor could be that sort of person that just keeps you grounded. When you're feeling lost, you go to that person. But at the end of the day, it's your mindset that's going to make you think like that, to take those actions.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, it's all about consistency and just the daily steps.
It's dedication, discipline, consistency.
Start with the people around you. I'd say, if you're gonna change something, start with the people around you.
I think as well, like you can't be afraid to cut people off, because a lot of times
it's difficult though. It really is difficult. But
I think even then, that ability to cut people off shows how much you believe in yourself. Because me, there was people I was around before, I was a bit scared to cut them off because I thought, oh, I need them around me. I didn't know that I could be myself and be with people who I deserve to be around. So I was thinking I can be around these type of people. Like, even as we're talking about, let's like our brands and everything we do. Like, I was around people before that. They wasn't supporting it too tough. They would message me every day like, this is hard, but they've not shown love or anything like that. Do you get it? Like, man's posting on Instagram and you're not reposting, you've not bought anything, like, but you're there buying but you're telling me my thing's better. And it just wasn't making sense. But I think even then, like, that is not the only form of support. Support can be criticism. If you're my guy and you think because I've got some people around me that I did have back in the day. My guy, AJ, shout out AJ, he spoke to me, I think it was 2 years ago. If not for AJ, I'll be so honest, I don't think Inspired Dynasty would have be where it is right now. But I've never even told him this. So him watching this now, you know, he's going to be like, oh, snap. But I had a shoot, I think it was 2 years ago. I thought the shoot was nice. But looking back, now that I'm a lot more knowledgeable, the shoot was not nice. And AJ was like to me, oh, bro, like, I don't know if anyone said, and no one had reached out to me. But I knew that other guys was talking, but they just didn't say anything. But AJ was the only person who actually came to me. And he told me, he said, bro, like, the clothing is so hard, but it matters how you brand it. The clothes was hard, but I had man wearing the wrong bottoms that didn't go with the top, shoes that just did not go with the outfit. So it made everything messy. And he said to me, bro, what you need to do next time, just know, like, tell them the type of footwear to wear, or ask them what they have. The bottoms as well. If you can't provide the bottoms, ask them to bring a certain pair of bottoms, and then look at your piece. We know your piece is hard, but what's around it that's going to make it look even harder?
That's the thing.
And that put me in a different space. I humbled myself. I could have been like, oh yeah, like, whatever, like, it's cool, I got it. But I sat down, I listened to him, I said, bro, be as honest as you possibly can. Like, I'm here for the criticism, constructively, I'm here for it. And he did a great job of
presentation and perspective as well.
And through that, bro, the next shoot was the best shoot I've ever had. You know, for the first time, bro, I had so many orders from America, Holland, Spain, Germany, just like, it was mad. And I was just like, you know, like, I had to let AJ know, like, bro, like, your words really, I thanked him. But yeah, no, bro.
It's so important to have people like that as well, even with me. My boys Middy and Snow, even Eric as well. As you know, I've been designing this collection, and I always send them little updates to let them know, yo, what do you think about this? And they never say, oh yeah, this is good, and that's it. They always say, this is good, but you can do this better. If you're gonna use this colorway, make sure that the model's wearing this. Even things that I personally wouldn't have thought about, they've said to me. It's so important. I'd rather have them say, yeah, do this instead, or do it this certain way, than rather be like, oh yeah, this is cold. Like, I put in my story and a lot of people say, oh, cold. This is good.
The deeper feedback.
But I need a bit more. Do you get?
Because again, like, just your circle, you should never be around yes men. If everyone around you is saying yes, or good, there's a problem.
Especially,
I want to be around people
that
can tell me when I'm moving wrong. If I'm not doing something right, tell me I'm moving incorrect. Tell me I'm moving left. If you think I've done something and it's not to the best of my capability, tell me I'm slacking. Tell me I can do better. Don't be there and tell me you're doing enough. Because more time, and it's mad as well, because some of the people around you, they'll tell you you're doing enough only so that you can get comfortable and complacent, so they can now go do better than you.
Because they're basing it off what they're doing as well.
Exactly. But like we said, for someone around you to even think like that, it's a problem straight away. Because, like I said earlier, a successful friend is a great asset, but the one many resent. And that in itself is a problem. So as much as mindset is important, self-awareness is so key. But yeah, no, like, you just have to know and be aware of everything that's going on around you. Yeah. But
as simple as that. Picking up on the self-awareness thing, it's so important, because at the end of the day, people can say a lot about you, but you need to be able to look inside and look at yourself in a perspective that's not biased. You need to be like, okay, am I really doing what I need to be doing? Even have I really put in enough work on a daily basis? Do I need to make sacrifices? So let's say I'm not going to jump on the P4 or the P5 today because I know that I've slacked on my work. I'm going to sacrifice maybe chilling on Netflix for an hour and put an hour in the gym.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all about these little sacrifices as well. But then again, that all comes down to your mindset. Do you really want to, what do you want to do? Do you want to go in the gym, or do you want to watch Netflix and play PS4? Do you want to go link a gal, or do you want to maybe read a book instead?
For sure.
Do you get?
I think we can wrap it here. I would say, what with regards to mindset, what last piece of advice would you leave the viewers with for them to be able to go back after this, close it, and to be able to apply something that will change their life for the better?
For me, I would say look at where you want to be and try to find actionable steps to sort of be that person. Once you figure that out, you're going to realize that, one, you're not thinking in the right way, or two, you are thinking in the right way. And if you aren't, what you're going to do is you're going to change, as I said, the people around you. You're going to change your actions, and then your actions going to lead to a different outcome.
Yeah, for sure.
I like this quote. I can't remember who it was by, but it says, what is it? It was like craziness is doing the same thing over and over again. And expecting the same thing. So if you have this goal, and then you're constantly not even getting closer to the goal, but you're doing the same things, then you need to change, first of all, the mindset, the actions, and then the actions change the outcome. Simple as that. What would you say?
For myself, I think the mindset thing is it's very simple. You just need to believe in yourself, man, and you need to have people around you who believe in you too. I think that's very important, because obviously there will be days where things are moving left. You don't feel like the seeds you've planted are going anywhere, but then you'll have the people around you who, from a different perspective, who see what you can't see and who've seen what you haven't seen, and they'll be able to speak to you and tell you things that maybe you weren't aware of, you know, like bro, my friends that are around me now, days I'm not feeling too great about myself, I feel like my results are not adding up to anything, they always remind me where I've come from and the fact I'm making progress. Even if sometimes the progress isn't as big as I'd want it to be, it's still progress, which is better than nothing. And I think it's just to always remember, life could be worse. You could be homeless. You could be by yourself. You could be living by yourself. You could be dead. The fact you're alive right now is a blessing in itself. And I feel like life is as short as it is long. I feel like life is as short as you make it to be, and life is as long as you make it to be. So I wouldn't either say life is short or long, but I feel like depending on the type of person you are, if you're wasting time, your life will feel like it's short. But if you're not wasting time, life will feel like it's very long, and life is long. So again, just believe, you know, if things are rough for the first 5-10 years, you know, doesn't mean they're not going to be great for the next 20, 30, 40. So it's always to be fixed on progress in the present and believing that the progress in the present will take care of the future. To not judge yourself on your past, to not allow your past to lead the direction of where you're going, but to rather just be fixed and firm in the person you believe you are, and that taking you to who you're gonna become. And in essence, you be consistent, you be disciplined, and one day you wake up and you're like, damn, I've always been this person. Yeah,
it's nice, man.
So thank you guys for watching. It was nice to speak to you all. This podcast should be available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, iTunes, the podcast thing.
So new episodes. So what we're going to do is, the plan is new episodes every month. As we get more consistent, we hope maybe to bring you 2 episodes a month. Also, if you would like to be on a podcast as well, make sure you email us at info@jayao.co.uk. If you want to be on a podcast, just let us know at that email.
Sweet. That's it.